Silence in the old Hammond house wasn't an empty silence. It was a thick, velvety quiet, the kind that had absorbed so many sounds it had become heavy with them. For Leo, hired to renovate the decaying Victorian mansion, it was the perfect solitude. No city noise, no demanding boss, just the rhythmic scrape of his putty knife against layers of ancient wallpaper. The first pattern was a hideous floral, mustard yellow, and bile green. Underneath was a slightly less offensive navy stripe. Then a third layer, this one a deep crimson with a faint gold geometric pattern. It was behind this layer that he found the writing. It wasn't paint or ink, but something that had seeped into the plaster itself, a brownish, rusty stain that formed words in a tight, frantic cursive. "I can see you through the wall." Leo jumped, a cold trickle down his spine. He laughed it off, a shiver of unease masquerading as amusement. Some kid's prank, decades ago. He continued scraping, but the words stayed in his mind. The house seemed to watch him. The next day, in the master bedroom, he found more. This time, behind a sheet of mahogany paneling he'd pried off. The sentence was longer, the handwriting more jagged. "It doesn't like the noise. It wants to be inside. Don't let it in." A prank didn't feel so funny anymore. The sentences felt like warnings, bottled and hidden. He told himself it was the isolation, the creepy grandeur of the dilapidated house, but a seed of dread had been planted. That night, as a storm rattled the loose window panes, Leo heard the first noise. It wasn't the wind. It was a soft, wet, scraping sound, like something heavy being dragged slowly across the bare floorboards downstairs. He lay frozen in his sleeping bag, a claw hammer gripped in his white-knuckled hand. The sound stopped directly below his room. In the morning, nothing was out of place, but the air felt different, colder, heavier. He almost packed his tools and left. But the money was good and pride held him fast. He decided to work in the basement, to prove to himself he wasn't afraid of creaks and old stains. The basement was a tomb of shadows and the smell of wet earth. His flashlight beam cut a shaky path through the gloom. And there, on the far wall, written in the same rusty substance across the bare stone foundation, was a single, sprawling sentence. "It's not behind the walls. It is the walls." His breath hitched. This wasn't old. The substance looked damp, fresh. As he stared, a single thick droplet, dark as old blood, welled up from the mortar between the stones and traced a path through the words. A soft, sighing whisper filled the air, not through his ears, but inside his mind. It was the sound of settling dust and groaning wood, given voice. "You are so loud." Leo stumbled back, falling against an old workbench. The scraping started again, but now it was everywhere. Above him, beside him, inside the walls. A dry, insistent scratching like countless insects or fingers. He fled up the stairs, but the basement door slammed shut with a force that shook the house. He pulled at the knob, but it was immovable, as if the house itself had grown a bone and muscle to hold it fast. The whisper came again, a chorus of sighs from the very air. "We were loud once, now we are quiet. Now we are part of the quiet." The wallpaper in the hallway began to bulge. Not in one place, but in several, as if something was pressing against it from the other side. The crimson paper with the gold pattern stretched and tore, and from the splits long pale fingers emerged, not of bone and flesh, but of compressed plaster and dust. They groped blindly at the air. Leo screamed, a raw, loud sound that was instantly swallowed by the hungry silence of the house. "Shh," the walls whispered. No more noise, only quiet. The floorboards behind him rippled like a wave, pitching him forward. He landed hard, and as he did, the floor beneath his hands softened, turning from wood to something spongy and cold. It began to seep around his fingers, holding them fast. He tried to pull away, but it was like being caught in hardening cement. The thing in the walls pressed closer. A face formed from shifting lathe and crumbling drywall pushed through the surface of the hallway